No sense wasting your time before I start this one, other than to say the fun fact that as a kid, I didn't realize Rattrap was supposed to be an asshole, and I used to like him a lot more than I do now. Probably on the strength of him being a rat alone, because rats are amazing pets with the glaring flaw of incredibly short lifespans. Anyways, Rattrap. This is a very faithful recreation of his robot mode. All the details are on point, with the notable exception of the ears jutting off his chest, the exact shape of the chest, and his feet are very wrong. Outside of that, you are looking at a whole host of correct details that could have maybe used a smidge more paint, but what we got is incredible. His shins both needed silver paint and couldn't get any because in rat mode, that would be the one part of the figure to look truly unrealistic. I do think this line's commitment to realistic animal modes is hurting it a bit at this point. Maybe not immensely, but here or there, things are just a little worse than they should be for the sake of fitting a realistic looking alt mode. I am so happy his arms got a touch of paint. If there is one aspect of the design I can see them leaving out that I would have thrown a fit over, it's the arm compartments. And I have to point out, those have to be the smallest, cleanest faction badges I've ever seen. I have really good vision, and I practically need a magnifying glass to see these. A big letdown for me, though, is the compartments don't open up. I suppose that will be something for the masterpiece to do if we ever end up getting one, and this ain't no micro masterpiece. I'm putting the kibosh on that train of thought right now. Let's take a look at that mug. For starters, I'd like to point out, if you get this, your brain will be shiny, but not this shiny. I had my little brother paint his chrome dome with Stuart Semple's mirror, the most reflective paint there is, and it looks gorgeous. What was already there was not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I felt like it could have been more. So, how's the head? In a word, amazing. I am stunned they went to the effort of painting the teeth. Those are like 1 atom long and half an atom wide. How do they even do that? The head sculpt is the absolute spitting image of our acerbic rat lad. But I really don't care for the gray strip they painted up the back of his head, and the plastic color isn't quite right. The orange is just subtly off in a hard-to-describe way. I mean, I suppose it's supposed to be bronze, and this is very clearly orange, so all of this could have stood to be a lot darker. I think that would have made him much more visually appealing. He comes with his gun, and it's very strange. In the promotional shots, they had it broken into 2 parts so he could use it as 2 guns, but in real life, the 2 halves are glued together. I don't know why this is cast in 2 parts, because this could have easily been 1 mold. Then it's got all these big ugly protuberances. This one here allows the gun to be pegged onto his back, and I suppose he can hold the gun by it, though I don't know why you'd want to. And you can also use it to peg onto his hip, but this is really in the way, and more than a bit awkward. This one here allows you to peg the gun into his shin. I have found no other uses for this, and I only just realized at the time of writing this that this was actually what that was for. Weirdly enough, unlike the other Legend scale figures for Kingdom, shut up, they're Legends. His gun doesn't have a peg big enough to allow you to give it to other figures in a larger size class. This will only fit him, or some of the other figures the size of him. They did a great job with his hands, by the way. How did they fuck up the 86 Blur's hands so bad, but these, which are about half the size, look great in comparison? I do have to say, though, while I'm absolutely an apologist for the Masterpiece Hot Rod's back kibble, and I will say to this day that it's not that bad on that figure, but I do find looking at this figure from the top to be a bit distracting. This is very messy looking, and the actual robot is like 1/4 the total mass back here. Before we get to posability, I do have one last complaint. This is probably about 1/3 too small. He comes up to Black Arachnia's hip, and he should be up past her waist. That will put him at a very strange height when compared to Dinobot. Oh man, I just realized. I swear, if in the new comic or the show, they make Dinobot and Rattrap, Conjunks, and Dora, I will flip my shit. They were just friends. Let them just be friends. Not everything needs to be a romantic relationship. And I hate the trope of the bickering couple who falls in love. Please, just let them have an atypical friendship and rivalry. Okay, posability. This is where I'm really going to start to complain. It's not that he's bad at posing, he just has issues. Arms have a good amount of range, legs have a good amount of range, but the arms refuse to not do this, and the legs refuse to not do this. Yeah, these transformation hinges suck. And there's no way of keeping them from untransforming every time you go to move the figure. I swear the arms stayed put until the first time I went to transform the figure. Now they flop about like a fish on land, and the legs were always a pain in the ass. Anytime you move this thing, you gotta adjust it so it looks right. This guy really needed some locking tabs to keep his limbs together. As it is, it's just kind of a miserable mess to move this mousy man's. Outside that, it would be quite solid, and the double-jointed knee would technically be an advantage. Feet are pretty good too. They don't have as much range as I'd like, but they still have decent range, they're nicely tight, and they're oddly stable on the ground for their size. So he doesn't really have a problem with falling over. Transformation on this guy is not so good, and I'd say the transformation hinges sacrifice the enjoyment of posing the figure, and solid joints were not a worthy casualty in the name of this conversion. Or this alt mode. It doesn't hold together all that well, and when you're done, it's clear that you are, on a visual level, but it just doesn't feel done. Maybe this would have felt better if the figure was a little bigger. It could have had more secure tabs and better clearances. So, the rat mode is cute. I'd say it's a little bit more like a mouse than it is a rat. It probably looks more like a show model than others in the line, likely due to the fact that they did a better job designing a rat than most of the other animals in the show. It's still off, though. It just doesn't quite capture him, and it holds together for crap. It's also a complete brick. The back legs move, and that's about it. Honestly, the transformation and alt mode are both bad features of this figure. I'm tempted to recommend that you buy this and just glue the transformation hinges shut, because that part's really not much of a feature worth ruining the robot mode over. Figure's okay. I want to like this more than I do. I think if it just held together a bit better in only the robot mode, I'd be happier with it. But I don't hate this. I don't even dislike it. I just want it to be more than it is. If you're a Beast Wars fan, you pretty much need this, and I won't tell you not to get it, but if you don't know who this is or aren't sure about it, maybe give this one a pass. But I tell you what, if someone out there makes one of those oversized, upgraded KOs of this, where they fix the figure's issues, like they did with the Siege Prime's sleeve kibble, I will be right there with my money. I already paid for the official figure, damn it. Hasbro has my money already. I feel no shame or guilt patronizing a knockoff when I've already done that, especially if it means I get a superior product. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. And if you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.